I like the sun through the flag. I think that looks good. Still live in the greatest country on the planet. It's off the rails, I get it, but I don't see too many people trying to row a raft out to Cuba from the United States. Not sure what this is actually called, but here at our house we call this the burning bush. Every fall it looks this good, so it's just nice with the morning sun on it. Here's my wife's Japanese maple. It's a little bit thin down in here, but you can kind of see what it looked like in its best, and it got a little sun coming through some of the leaves. Anyway, so there's another positive for this late in the fall. Just trying to show you guys some of the good parts of the yard. I don't know if I can get this to do right, but the morning light through the trees, for the few leaves that are left, still looks pretty good. Like, it's hard, having a hard time catching the sun on it, but still looks really good. This little part of the forest stays leafed a few weeks longer than the rest. Don't really know why. And just here's some ornamental grass. Don't know what it's called, but it looks pretty good. Here's the last piece I'll show you. More ornamental grass, but it's pretty nice and it's got the sun coming through it. It's a little bit easier to do this in the morning light than evening. Most of the light's on the other side of the house, right next to the falls and the little bridge. Anyway, thought that looked pretty good. So there's some positives for the yard this time of year. Well, hey, good afternoon, YTPC. This is Dave coming to you from Southern Maryland, and it is Monday afternoon around 3:30. I thought it brings back to the fire pit for another fireside chat this afternoon. All right, so first order of business is, what are we drinking today? It's a little bit different. So I brought out some Connemara peated single malt Irish whiskey. This is the 12-year-old version. My wife and I discovered this when we were over at Clifton Moor on the west coast of Ireland in Connemara County. And we discovered that this is pretty fabulous. It's pretty heavily peaty and it's pretty heavily smoky, but it tastes good to both of us. So my wife actually drinks this with me. So it pours. I like it on the rocks. I know a lot of people drink it neat, but I like it on the rocks. You can tell it's kind of a nice light color. It's not very heavy at all. So there you go. The drink of this afternoon is Connemara whiskey. All right, so the next thing is, what are we smoking? Well, as you know by now, it's the Meerschaum. And for those of you who are new to the channel, this is the only pipe I smoke in Maryland. I'm trying to get it nice and caramelized, colored, so I focus on this pipe alone while I'm here in the state of Maryland. So what am I smoking in it? So I got some Boswell's Premium Burley. This is how I buy my tobaccos whenever I can. I try to order it in 1 pound bulk. These guys are really nice. They sent me 2 9-ounce bags when I only ordered a pound. So I typically find Boswell's takes good care of me. But Boswell's Premium Burley, it smells great, even through the bag. And it burns great and it tastes great. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the camera for a minute and load this up. I will, when I'm done, I'll jar up enough, put in this, and then the rest will go in my larger jars. That's how I store all my tobaccos, in canning jars if they come in bags. I don't store them in the bags ever. All right, guys, pipe's loaded up. I actually went ahead and jarred it up. And even with that jar full, it didn't even take half of this bag. So I've got a little over a bag and a half to put into the larger jars when I get done tonight. All right, initial light is good.
Now, what should we talk about?
So yes, what shall we talk about today? Well, if you'd allow me, we'll continue down the path we started yesterday a little bit about planning and acting, dealing with emotions through action. So I had two other thoughts today. The first was pretty much how we go into things is how they end up turning out to be in most cases, in my opinion. What the hell does that mean? That means if we go into our day convinced it's going to be a crappy day, or if we are going to our day convinced it's going to be a pretty good day, be the same day, but either way, we're going to end up being right. If we go into a task and think, man, I'm never going to be able to get this task done, or I'm going to kill this thing, either way, we're going to end up being right. And I think sometimes we go into things without pre-thought and we end up on the negative track. That seems to be how most of us think. We tend to go into things with a pretty negative bent. And so I think we end up with a fairly negative outcome on a task, on a concert, on a book, on a class, on the day. I think that's largely our fault. Either way, I think we can cause it to be a great day if we go into it that way. Now, life does throw us real curveballs and real surprises and real shocks, but that is pretty rare, I think, if we're honest with each other, if we're honest with ourselves. It's a very rare day where you get completely blindsided by something. I think we overplay those days, we overplay those events, and make them seem like they're far more prevalent in our lives than they really are. And yesterday we talked about kind of that cycle of dream, plan, act. And the thing I'd want to caution us against is getting too focused on the how. Sometimes we let how derail our dream, or how derail our what. Like, what do we want? What do we want to accomplish? What do we want to happen? And then we get stuck on, I don't know how to achieve it, so we kind of derail ourselves. So that was my first thought, is try to stay away from plowing right into how, and let's finish up the process of what's a dream or a goal or objective that's out in front of us, and what is it we truly want. Then when that's done, we can sit down and start breaking it into steps. Because the second thought I had was, I've known an awful lot of people in my life who, that bullshit motivation posters that say things like no object, no challenge too large, no object too hard. What I think happens to most of us is, what actually we end up thinking is, no speed bump is too small. We allow any sort of problem to stop us, derail us. I was going to build this thing today, but I don't have any 2-inch screws. And rather than just run off to the hardware store and getting a box and starting over an hour later, we kind of go, well, I'll put that off and I'll do that next weekend. Well, then it's raining next weekend, and then the next weekend's Thanksgiving, and then pretty soon 2 or 3 months have gone by. We didn't do it, all because of a stupid box of screws. Try not to pick on the example too hard. I think we've all had examples. You can think of when you've done that yourself. We just want to stay away from that becoming a way of life. So don't get stuck on the how until you've finished out your dream process and your what do you want process. And then as we do get things broken into steps and start taking action, beware of the no speed bump too small syndrome. Man, my pipe is burning great. Irish whiskey's tasting great. The fire's burned down. It's not smoking so much. It's nice and warm. It's pretty damn nice out here today. That's one of the things I've tried to get better at is the little things. A nice pipe, glass of whiskey, nice little fire in my own backyard. The taste of premium burley. I just think that's one of the things I like so much about the cigar community, the pipe community, this pipe community, is we seem to be good, or at least getting better at, or know that we need to focus on, that quiet hour with the pipe and what that means to us. This is my first year. I told you my intro video, I started this in January this year. And I have to say, I get it. I'm 11 months in, and I do get it. And I think a lot of you that make videos, and some of you are commenting on them, seem to really get that as well. So I guess I'll end it with this tonight, guys. I certainly don't want to seem like I got my act together and I'm up here preaching. That's not what I'm trying to get across at all. I'm just trying to bring up different topics and maybe it's roadblocks that some of us or all of us either have or are or will face in our future or face in our life. Because I too am searching. I too pray for wisdom and knowledge and understanding and discernment. I pray for a larger impact, a larger influence on the world. I pray to be able to support a greater and greater number of people as I grow older. I too pray to have God's path for me illuminated more, because I can't see it very well in front of me, to be honest with you. And I really have no idea what God's purpose for me is at this point in my life. I think I've been pretty clear up until a few years ago, but right now I'm searching, and so I'm no different than anybody. I just want to make sure I'm clear on that as I come up with these different topics, questions, and thoughts. I think that's it. We'll wrap it up for the night. I hope everyone had a good Monday. I'm thoroughly enjoying my pipe tonight. I appreciate all the comments and feedback. These seem to be landing, so we'll kind of keep going until I feel like I'm going off track. But if you have questions or thoughts, please keep putting them in the comments. I really do appreciate it. Or talk back to me, or talk back to these subjects when you post yours. All right, have a good night. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.